Welcome to Green Square Talks Battlebots, and today we'll be talking about fight card number 3, our thoughts and reactions. Joining me in this video, we have Civilian Arc and Pory Nog. Be sure to check out their YouTube channels as they both post a lot of awesome content on there. How are you both doing today?
I'm doing good. How about you guys?
I'm getting there. I'm good. You know, I'm still waiting on YouTube to upload the this episode. I mean, I watched it live, but you know, I want to watch it like 10 more times before the next episode. But usually they upload it like the night later that night or in the morning. Like I'm pretty sure they did on Amazon. You said?
Yeah, that's what they did on Amazon Prime. So
yeah, still not on YouTube.
Speaking of the episode here, this video will be full of spoilers from that episode. So if you haven't seen it, you have been warned now. So now let's get to the first fight of this awesome fight card here. We got Copperhead and Gigabyte here. And you guys got anything you want to say first about this one?
This fight was so crazy when I first watched it. Me and my brother and my mom were...
Can't hear you, Civilian.
Yeah, you went silent.
So I'll just mention what I was going to say. Yeah, it looked like Gigabyte was having some issues right from the start of it, which seemed like a problem here. Is if you notice in the replay, their self-rider was spinning along with the full body spinner, showing there were clearly some issues there. And yeah, I think this fight was kind of a mess for Gigabyte, but fortunately, one of their team members did post on their Instagram saying that they did manage to fix a lot of the issues they had in this fight for their next one. So I do have some confidence in Gigabyte. Got anything you want to say, Pory? Oh, Civilian, yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, Civilian's back.
Oh, am I back? Yeah, I was having a problem. Sorry about that. If I have problems again, I'll probably move my computer.
No problem.
Yeah, no worries.
Did it looked like Copperhead and Copperhead was also having internal problems in that fight?
They were crab walking a little bit, I noticed.
Yeah, although what I did notice in the corner, though, I think Gigabyte was leaking like oils or something like that in the corner as they were tracking some stuff there. I kind of wonder if that's kind of like some of the issues we were seeing with Copperhead and as well Gigabyte too, with some of their mobility problems they were having until they got absolutely beheaded. Kind of what I'm thinking behind that is like the Monsoon and Petunia fight from 2018 where Petunia was leaking out a lot of that stuff, and that caused Monsoon some mobility issues temporarily.
Oh yeah, definitely. I was actually kind of bummed because this is the only fight I got incorrect. I mean, I still think Gigabyte's probably going to make the top 32 unless like it really bombs in its next two fights, but it is Gigabyte, so I do have some confidence in it. But yeah, I didn't expect it to go like that. I expected it to be a little bit more of a fight, but I guess that more so is on their reliability issues within this fight.
Yeah, I bet they probably have it fixed because they do fight Grabot later, who we haven't seen yet. And then what you probably saw at the beginning of the first episode was them removing the wedge on them. So
yeah,
I have even if I didn't see that, I got massive confidence that they repaired a lot of and fixed a lot of the issues they had in that fight.
If Gigabyte loses the Grabot, I'll do the podcast of that episode in my bear costume.
I don't think that Grabot has a chance against Gigabyte.
We don't really want to count them out because, like in King of Bots season 1, though, where that team came with Megabyte did manage to tear apart their last opponent, who managed to keep driving. The reliability issues got the best of Megabyte. Kind of get what I'm trying to say by that.
I kind of forget those. Grabot, the one with those weird metal arms or something.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
All right.
I know you're gonna probably hold me to that too. Like if as soon as Grabot wins, you're gonna be like, all right, put it on. I'm serious. I'll do it.
Do it.
All right, you guys got anything else you want to say about this one, or should we get to the next fight?
One thing. Holy shit! When he knocked off the shell, like I still couldn't believe that. That was insane.
Oh yeah, and all the damage it caused the arena.
It definitely
destroyed the light.
destroyed a light panel. Forget what that start buzzer thing. That thing was in half.
Yeah, that was an insane hit.
Yes, it was.
It definitely seems like Copperhead has had a lot of weapon improvements ever since its 2019 debut. I see a lot of potential in Copperhead going forward.
Oh, yeah. All right, on to the next one where we have Jackpot and Sub-Zero. And this was an interesting one. It's very much looking forward to Jackpot, similar design to Deep Six from last season, who unfortunately did not make it this year. They are taking on Sub-Zero, who is under new management this year, as their captain from the past few seasons retired, and yeah, and so on.
No longer Pennsylvania bot, which bums me out because they were the only one we had left. Now we don't got any. Now Bale Spears, my local representation living in New Jersey.
Oof.
So, got any thoughts on this one?
I am so upset that Sub-Zero just went and shorted out on itself.
Yeah.
Dude.
It sounds like they had a Reddit post. They supposedly Jackpot got to some sort of switch that caused them to completely shut down, which, yeah, really disappointed me, even though I did pick Jackpot for this one in my predictions. Yeah. And
they got a good flip in, though.
Yeah.
Like the full flip they did with Jackpot, that was impressive at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like we saw a lot of movement issues from Jackpot at the beginning of this one. And they hinted on a Facebook post that those were welding issues, but haven't seen like a full report from there. They're going on Reddit today.
Yeah, I think they said the weapon, like when it got like messed up and the blades like went in the opposite directions, I think they said that was like bad welding pretty much.
Yeah, that would make sense. You guys got anything else you want to say about this one?
Not
Sub-Zero.
Really. Both these bots look like they have potential. If they get their motor and internal issues fixed, I could see them making the top 32.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I heard Sub-Zero made a ton of major improvements for this season compared to last season, and which is one of the reasons why I put Sub-Zero on my fantasy team. And yeah, I got lots of confidence that Sub-Zero can fix up the problems they had in the first fight and come back and get a win.
Hey, they fight Grabot next.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Grabot's got some tough opponents.
Yes, they do.
No, Grabot's getting a really tough strength schedule.
Why are they doing this to Grabot?
Unless they dominated their first fight, I guess. Like maybe like next episode they're gonna fight like Rampage or something and like totally destroy it or somehow.
Unless they're fighting another rookie this for their schedule, like they're doing with Rusty as it's fighting Sawblaze and Beta.
Oh man. Yeah. All right, fight number 3, Uppercut and Gemini. And yeah, I gotta say, if you went to the bathroom during this fight, you probably missed a lot. And yeah, as this fight ended quite quickly there. Yeah, I picked Uppercut for this one, but I did not think this one was going to end that quickly.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like a lot of people sleep on Uppercut. Like, it's like obviously it's an insanely powerful robot, but like even though it made the top 16 and its only losses were Fight Force and a Rumble that quite frankly it would have won if it wasn't having teething troubles. Like, I feel like a lot of people kind of overlook Uppercut.
And didn't Uppercut like split Bite Force's frame in half or something?
Pretty much Bite Force said that said in their damage report from that fight that if they took one more weapon on weapon collision from Uppercut, their frame might split in half, I believe.
Oh, so yeah, Uppercut did a bit to Bite Force.
Oh yeah, yeah. Uppercut clearly made that weapon a lot more stronger, as we saw it land a major punch that sent one of the Gemini bots clean out of the arena and then destroyed the other one. One thing I did not notice, though, is that Gemini removed the wedges on their bot. They just have horizontal spinners for this season, which is a little interesting.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
they've switched it for weapon power, I think, because
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. You guys got anything else you want to say about this one?
this isn't about the fight in particular, but I like how the Chris and Kenny kind of analyzed Uppercut and about the big advantage of Uppercut's weapon. I wish we see
Oh,
more
yeah.
about it.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. I completely agree with that. Yeah, that
Kenny
definitely
did a really good write-up of it.
yeah.
that would actually make sense though, since Chris Rose does he's got his own he's on an ESPN podcast himself, so that would kind of make sense where they got all that stuff from.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but definitely like the technical like lesson about how Uppercut works. I feel like that's something that the show should do a lot more of, like more educational segments showing how the robots work.
yeah,
Yeah.
Uppercut will definitely be one to watch, as I bet they could go very far in the tournament after the damage we saw them do there.
I think
could-
the next fight that was revealed, it's going to be in episode 7. I think they revealed it today. It's going to be. I think that's going to be one of the best fights of the year.
Who are they up against?
Sawblaze.
Ooh.
Ooh,
Oh, that's
That's
gonna
going to
be
be
good.
a good fight. Yeah.
Yes,
that's
that
gonna
will.
be amazing. Oh my god, that has to be main event. That has to be main
It
event.
is. It is. I think it is. Yeah. It's
Okay,
a main
thank
event.
God.
It's either
Oh.
6 or 7. It's one of those two is them, and one of those two is Mammoth versus Hypershock.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. Next fight. And here's
boy.
the interesting one.
Here we go.
So
Open the room.
before we start debating about this question, since I know a few of us are on one side and the other person's on the other side, I'm going to ask everybody's opinion on 2 questions for this fight. The first one is, what did you think of the judge's decision for this fight? And the second one is, because Beta didn't use their hammer even once, BattleBots is talking about coming out with a rule where if a fight goes the full 3 minutes and their opponent didn't willingly use their main weapon, they could deduct points from them. What do you think about that rule there? What is your opinion on that? So before we start sharing opinions, everybody's opinion will be respected here.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, we get along just fine.
We're adults.
Yep.
We can debate. It's all about the discourse, man.
All right. So
Pory,
who's up first?
You want to go first, Pory?
Okay. I do not agree with the decision, because Will Bales put it pretty well. Like, these robots are required to have an active weapon to get into the tournament, and I feel like it would be one thing if Beta had like tried to swing the hammer and it had gotten destroyed by it like hitting the top of Rotator. Then I would be like, okay, sure, but he didn't even try to do it, and I know that Rotator didn't like disable the weapon or anything. It just like they were just like, nah, we're just gonna push it around with the wedge the whole time, and I don't think that's really particularly fair, because Rotator's like, they're getting, no doubt. I don't disagree that Beta has the control down, like control 3-0 Beta. I absolutely agree with, but they actually posted the fight cards for it, and like both Derek and Lisa voted 4-1 in damage, and it's just like Beta didn't really do any damage at all. And if they had been 5-0 damage for Rotator, then both of those fight cards would have gone to Rotator. But I feel like if this competition had happened on like Robot Wars, King of Bots, or I don't know the King of Bots judging criteria, or like Robo games, I feel like Beta absolutely would have won. But I think it's just the fact that it's underneath this set of rules that Beta shouldn't have won, just because of how the rules are.
Yeah. You want to go civilian, or should I go next?
I'll go. Now, before I give my opinion on the decision, I will say that this definitely shows a lot of flaws in the BattleBots judging criteria. I do think that I'm glad that BattleBots is changing the criteria for active weapon usage. So I'm liking that. Now, overall, I can't see any way that, at least for me, I can't see any way that Rotator would have dominated that fight. I think Beta was completely controlled in this fight. I think it was dominating the entire thing. I think Rotator had no control in that fight, and by consequence, no aggression, in my opinion. Now, for the damage thing, I'm a little confused how Beta won a damage thing on that. I think control bots get damaged by ramming their opponents to walls, and maybe that's how Beta got a damage point. But then again, because of the active weapon rule, or the active weapon rule that's coming up, I don't think that Beta should have gotten a damage decision. But overall, I do agree with this decision. I do think this was the right decision. I can see how someone would think this is the wrong decision, though, however.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So my opinion is I did agree with the decision based off of how I would have scored this fight, as pretty much how I think Beta could have gotten a damage point was, yeah, like what Civilian Arc said. They did take control of Rotator with that wedge multiple times and ram Rotator right into the rails, which I think could have gotten them their damage point. But then that also does kind of prove Will Bale's point there that, yeah, the rules are quite inconsistent there, because I believe what the Battlebot states for the damage part of the judge's decision is that it has to be damage done by the primary weapon, which is the hammer there. Or, of course, on Beta, which, yeah, shows that the rules have been a little inconsistent, but
yeah,
it was still a fun fight, though. I was disappointed that we didn't get to see Beta's hammer, as we saw that thing put a bunch of major dents and Tombstone in 2016, do some terrific damage there. But then, yeah, we unfortunately didn't get to see it this year, knowing that Gabriel said that the hammer is 3 times more powerful than it was back in 2016. I mean, so right now, as a why Beta didn't use that hammer, it kind of did make sense why they were waiting on using it. As Gabriel did explain before the fight began, that they were hoping to either flip rotate over so that way their blade was on the bottom area, or pin them against the arena walls, or just break the spinners that way it wasn't spinning anymore, or something like that. Mostly because if they like went weapon on weapon, kind of like what happened 2/3 the way into the fight, Rotator would very likely win that exchange. It's kind of understandable why they weren't using the hammer there, but yeah, I was really hoping to get to see that thing in action, get to see that hammer fire once, just to see what it can do this season compared to in 2016. So yeah, as for the rule that they were coming out with, I kind of disagree with it. It's like Battlebots has been changing the rules throughout, like between 2015 and 2016, and even in 2018 and 19, they've been changing the rules that would heavily rely like towards spinners, like favor them over like hammers, grabbers, crushers, flippers. Now, as lots of the rules they've been coming up with really supports them. Like we've already heard talks that they're gonna apply like some extra sheets of Lexan, make out of the arenas either harder to complete or impossible, which would really suck for flipper bots like Hydra, whom like to use that as their way to win fights.
Yeah, I hope they don't incorporate that, but I do agree with the change in the rules, just because it's not necessarily for spinners. It's like, because like if Vita uses its hammer, then it doesn't get points deducted. I think a lot of people, I think it's just BattleBots. Like Greg Munson's worried that it's gonna get canceled again if robots do what Vita did, just wedge the whole time, because that's why I got canceled in the Comedy Central era. Because by the time of like season 4.0 and season 5.0, like every weight class had like a wedge or two reaching the semifinals or even the finals like every season, and it was starting to get a little stagnated because of it. Like you had robots like, like the Big B and New Cruelty like reaching the finals, and they're just these like random, just like rambots pretty much.
Oh yeah.
BattleBots rules for like judging criteria and overall criteria, it's always been more spinner friendly. It's like been lenient more towards spinners, where like say Robot Wars is more for like flippers. It has much more flippers. I do hope that they don't make that new much harder to get out of the arena, because that would kind of suck for literally every flipper in existence.
Yeah, but I love out of the arenas. They're fun.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. It's
But,
entertaining to see. It's entertaining to see flippers just launch their opponents out of the arena. Even Bite Force, when they launched Bombshell out of the arena back in 2018, that was super fun to see.
Yeah, like seeing
Yeah.
spinners throw their opponents out of the arena, that's even funner.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, agreed. But yeah, I feel like it's just I feel like also it's a case of damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like if Rotator would have won that fight, we'd probably still be having this discussion. Only I'd be like, yeah, I agree with
Oh,
it,
yeah.
and you would probably be like,
Yeah,
I disagree with it. Like either way, like that fight, no matter which way it would have gone, there would have been like a fire in the community.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I would just say, yeah, because no matter what way it would have gone, like this was an impressive fight out of both bots, and that was an exciting return for Betas. Yeah, you gotta admit though that front armor is very
It's
strong,
durable.
as
Yeah.
it really only seemed to take like scratches, even minor dents in it from Rotator's spinner, which is great for
Yeah.
them. And yeah, and then Rotator on the other side, Beta just could not flip them over. That spinner would not stop spinning, and
Yeah.
they were not having drive issues like what they had in their fight with Blacksmith last season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Rotator's definitely stronger than ever, and I would not call this a bad loss. Like I think Rotator can easily come back from this one, and
Oh yeah, I think the judges,
back.
I think the selection committee is going to look at it and be like, oh, that is a good loss. Also, I think another thing I should mention is a lot of people I've noticed are comparing this to like the Tombstone fight, because Rotator took out Tombstone with its wedge, but Rotator also did try to use its weapon on Tombstone. Plus,
Yeah,
Tombstone
and
was like a
and
ball
then
of fire at the end of the
another
fight
key
anyway.
difference that in that one though, if that fight was to go to the judges, is the fact that Tombstone was on fire for that thing,
Yeah.
showing some massive amounts of damage in that.
And
Compared
Like
to, but then Rotator wasn't even smoking at all in this.
Yeah, and
Yeah, like I
Rotator's
feel
really
like if that
Yeah.
fight would have gone to the judges and like and Tombstone hadn't like set on fire and he was just like slapping Rotator around despite being pushed around, I feel like the judges definitely would have gone Tombstone on that. And that makes me wonder, like, is there theoretically a bias, like the more popular robot getting the decision? I might be overthinking it, maybe.
Maybe, I'm not entirely sure. I wouldn't think that this would be biased, because these are competitors from BattleBots. We got Lisa from Megatento,
Yeah.
Derek from Complete Control, Jason from
Disco Inferno.
Disco
Disco
Inferno.
Yep, Dr. Inferno
getting,
Jr. too.
I keep getting Disco and Hypno confused.
Yeah, they Jason never misses though. He always, well, I didn't agree with him on Hydra last week, but besides that, Jason doesn't really miss, in my opinion.
Jason is, in my opinion, Jason is probably the smartest judge out of the three, in my opinion.
Then he
Oh, yeah,
Rotator the way
He
it's
spelled it
typically
correctly.
spent. Or
He
typically
spelled beat it
spelled.
correctly
Yeah.
too with the B. But also like Gruff versus Tombstone is another example I can think of. Gruff is like pushing Tombstone around the whole fight. Tombstone's still spinning, Tombstone's still doing damage, and Tombstone won that fight.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like wondering. I'm like, it's inconsistent is what I'm trying to get at pretty much.
Yeah. I hope they fix those inconsistency problems that we saw in this fight and probably other fights, since P1 did state in one of their Instagram posts that this is only the beginning of it. So
yeah, a few builders, they were talking about how there's gonna be more decisions like this, so we're gonna have a lot more discourse throughout the season.
oh yeah. So yeah, hang in there if you really haven't enjoyed a lot of those decisions here.
I'm gonna
Season's
turn
gonna
off
be
my
rad.
camera for a second to move my computer, because I'm having internet problems again.
Okay.
No problem.
All right. So yeah, anything else you want to say about this one?
I feel like it could have gone either way, and there would have been a debate, but I've never seen a debate in the community over a decision like this, like ever. Like last week, like Black Dragon versus Kraken, people disagreed with it, but
yeah,
it was mostly just like banter.
nothing compared to this one, and as well the
I mean, this one you got
Will
builders
Bales
like actually
argument there is
speaking
lots of
up
people are
against.
posting about that too.
Yeah, like Will Bales, it's just like, yeah, dude, this is nonsense. Like that, I've never seen that happen in the sport like ever.
Yeah,
and we survived season 2, so.
All right, so yeah, we know Beta will take on Rusty at some point. We know Rotator will take on Valkyrie at some point as well. Those should be two very interesting fights.
Yeah, definitely.
That's gonna be a fun fight, Beta versus Rusty.
All right, Valkyrie and Tantrum.
Yeah.
Ooh, I forgot to bring something. I'm gonna go grab something. You go ahead and talk about it.
It sucks because I voted Tantrum to win this fight.
I voted Valkyrie. On the note of the last fight, I voted for Beta. That's like the one thing I was happy about because I'm like, well, my prediction was right.
I'm pretty sure I'm 11-11 in predictions right now.
I did pretty good on the last 2 episodes, but the first episode I did like really bad. I got like 3 correct on it.
I'm back. Got to bring the Valkyrie wheel from their fight with Lockjaw that I won on an eBay auction.
Ooh.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna bring this one, but then forgot to bring it over, so kind of had to go get it because this is kind of necessary.
How heavy is it?
Not very heavy.
Okay, Beta, I still love you.
Yes. Oh, I wish they sold those things at the stores near me.
Do you have a Target near you?
Yes.
They don't have them there?
Not as for the last few times I checked. I know they had like the Witch Doctor Bronco set and the or Duck and Rotator thing.
I have like a ton of Betas with me. I don't know why. Beta is like the biggest amount of hex bugs I have for some reason.
You think like Hexbug's gonna take advantage of that fight and like make like a Beta Rotator finals pack since we already have the toys?
Will.
Why not? All right, so yeah.
Didn't do a Duck Bombshell rival pack.
So what do you guys have to say about this one on this Valkyrie and Tantrum fight?
I wanted Tantrum to win. I thought Tantrum would win. It was owning Valkyrie up to a certain point, and then it didn't.
Yeah, I picked Valkyrie for this fight, figuring that they were gonna win this fight, but then Tantrum was just dominating that fight for a majority of it. And they broke Valkyrie's spinner after that, even not long after Valkyrie did a ton of damage to those fists, which are made of foam. So not so surprised that they broke, but
I didn't think they were made of foam. No, that surprised me.
Yeah, Tantrum posted a YouTube video with their fight recap, and they said that those fists are foam and then flamethrower parts in there. And then we unfortunately didn't get to see the flamethrower. Yeah, according to Tantrum's YouTube video, the first shot from like one of the first shots that Valkyrie landed right on Tantrum broke the puncher, leaving that puncher in the back placement there. Kind of like what we saw in the fight, but Tantrum still managed to get a ton of massive shots in with that spinner, and then as well ram Valkyrie into rails, which broke Valkyrie's spinner, which we don't see that a lot out of Valkyrie.
I really hope that Tantrum switches out its flamethrower for more reliable motors, because that's a problem I have with flamethrowers, is that it doesn't really work that well, and I think it would be better served for like better motors.
I know that I want to say Battlebots, they get paid for each victory, for like victories and stuff like that. I think there's like a bonus if they get a flamethrower, if they include a flamethrower in that stuff, which might be a reason why Tantrum threw that in there, or possibly. But I know that's what other competitions do. I'm not 100% sure if Battlebots does that or not.
Yeah, I was pretty. I mean, I was happy because I love Valkyrie and they're my fantasy team. But at the same time, I was kind of sad because I also really like Tantrum. And they did put up
Yeah.
an excellent fight. And
Yeah, this is
their second fight. Well, I don't know if it's second, third, whenever, but the other fight we know of Tantrum, I'm pretty confident in them because they fight
what's their other opponent?
They're gonna fight Atom94, so I'm pretty confident in them on that, especially with how off the ground Atom94 is on the back.
Oh yeah.
But,
yeah, no doubt. This is the best version of Tantrum we've ever seen. That
100%.
thing just went at Valkyrie, even though it took some major damage in the first few blows from Valkyrie's spinner. They just kept pushing. But if you don't know why they stopped working, that was because they unfortunately had battery issues as they ran out of power, or which stopped them from moving. I was really disappointed about that. It's like, even though I picked Valkyrie to win this fight here, Tantrum was just dominating Valkyrie there.
Yeah, that was an impressive showing.
Yeah. I would not. You go ahead, Civilian.
I wish it would have been, they could have survived up into a judge's decision, because Tantrum would have definitely won a judge's decision.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, no doubt. So yeah, this
happens.
Oh yeah. So now
I actually thought that in the fight, I actually thought that maybe Valkyrie like did damage and just caught up with him later. But now you're saying that it was a battery. I'm like, oh, that's even sadder, because it's something that was kind of out of their reach.
Yeah, they couldn't really do anything about that.
Anything else you guys want to say about this one?
It does look like Tantrum is top 32 material. It could even make the top 16 if they fix the battery issues they've been having.
Oh yeah, that and as
I'm
well
sure
the
selection committee is going to look at this
issue
fight
with
and be
the
like,
puncher. Oh, you go ahead.
And I'm sure the selection committee is going to look at this fight and be like, oh, Tantrum did really good in this fight at least. So like, it's like a good loss at least.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right, next up, two more newcomers. We got the Big Dill and Atom94. I was looking forward to Atom94. They're one of 4 international teams at Battlebots this season, as they came in from India. Supposedly they were messaging with Ray Billings from Tombstone with like some advice over that design and stuff like that. And I had a lot of high hopes for M94 because I have heard lots of big things about that team. And
apparently they're pretty successful in their own circuits.
And it sounds like from their damage report, they were having a ton of radio issues, which caused their weapon to slow down and movement to become a challenge.
It definitely, it looks like Atom has some potential, but Big Dill definitely surprised me. I didn't think Big Dill would be that reliable, but it definitely showed some potential against Atom.
Pretty well driven too.
Yes. Yeah, his Big Dill will definitely be one to watch, as I did not expect to see that happen. I did not expect the outcome of this fight to be the way it is. And here's one entertaining question for you guys. How high do you think the cliche jar will be filled by the end of the season?
How big was that jar? Was that like a pickle jar?
I want to say that, that sounds relatively accurate for what it was.
I'd say it would probably be like halfway full when the postseason starts.
I could definitely see that happening. The cliche jar was
episode 9.
Yeah, cliche jar was one entertaining moment in that episode. At least one moment that I found entertaining. So I also did not expect those two were going to get locked together. And even the way they did, as Big Dill had one fork in the weapon area and then one fork out of it, which was kind of a problem when those two got stuck. But I'm hoping that you go ahead.
No, you can go first.
I'm hoping Atom94 manages to fix some of the radio issues they were having in this one. I think that design has a lot of potential here, as I hear that spinner is quite devastating. if it connects on its opponents.
Yeah.
You two got
On the note of the cliche jar, sorry. You can go ahead. Sorry.
Imagine the entire cliche jar goes to the winner. Like they get a what's
That's the bounty award.
Oh yeah. Anything else you
Thank
guys
you,
want to
Simon.
say, or should we go to the main event?
Oh, on the note of the cliche jar, if it is actually a pickle jar, I feel like they should add a few extra quarters since they did it during Big Dill's fight.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think that's only fair.
I wish they had the cliche jar when Battle Royale with Cheese was still in Battlebots.
It'd be full from that fight
Yes.
alone.
All right, last fight of the episode. We got the main event, Hypershock and Gruff, and this was another one where this did not exactly go the way I expected it to go. We got Gruff in there with 2 flamethrowers this time, and then just as well armored and durable as it was last season, as they are famous for their fight with Tombstone last season. Even though they didn't win, they're one of few bots that managed to go the full 3 minutes with Tombstone, who has a functioning weapon that entire time.
Yeah.
It sounded like
definitely a very tanky robot.
It sounded like, from what the Chris and Kenny kept saying, it sounded like Hypershock came in last minute for BattleBots and wasn't exactly 100% when it started competing.
Yeah, Hypershock explained because they joined in with the Witch Doctor and Friends thing during quarantine, like when COVID started hitting, as they did a bunch of like video sessions with a bunch of other teams. Hypershock explained that they do a lot of the CAD stuff last minute. And of course, Jenny was talking at the beginning of the episode how like she was down in the pit, those two were right next to each other, but Hypershock was still finishing up building their robot coming into that fight, is kind of like what you were going off of, Civilian. So yeah, I was honestly not expecting Hypershock to have I honestly shouldn't be surprised, but I was that Hypershocks had a lot of the weapon reliability issues they have been having the past few seasons, as we did see them land a few big hits on Gruff. And what also surprised me is the fact that Gruff, the side panel that Hypershock hit on their first shot, it didn't really look scratched or unscathed or anything like that, which honestly impressed me a little.
Oh yeah, definitely.
If Gruff can take hits from Tombstone, it can basically take hits from anything at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, no doubt about that. I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of Gruff's fights in the future. Are there any other fights we've heard about that Gruff will have this season?
The one episode description had dropped up. They're gonna fight Whiplash.
Ooh, Whiplash. That'll be a good one. That'll be an excellent driving match.
That could be the best fight of 2020.
I also heard that apparently, because I have a buddy who got the 2021 calendar, and it had a handful of fights that weren't like revealed yet, and apparently there's a Gruff fight in that, and I don't know if I'm allowed to reveal that, but it's an interesting one.
Yeah, there will be a lot of interesting fights coming, and that I think will bring a lot of joy to this season. As we know Hypershock will take on Endgame at some point. I forget if there was another one. No, Mammoth as well.
Yeah, Mammoth is a main event.
That's going to be 2 tough fights.
Yeah, no doubt. Hypershock has got another tough season coming. As we saw them get a few big wins last season, but then unfortunately get destroyed by Bite Force despite the fight they put up on them. And I felt like their fight with Breaker Box and then Huge kind of had some issues with the recovery from the Bite Force fight, as Bite Force did a ton of severe damage to Hypershock.
Yeah, hopefully this won't be another 2018 season for Hypershock. It's always shown potential. It will probably. Hypershock is, in my opinion, the best driver for Battlebots.
He's definitely up there.
I
Maybe
agree with
Whiplash.
that. I want to
Either
say I
Whiplash
also
or
saw that
Hypershock.
Hypershock takes on Hydra sometime. I don't remember.
Oh, like
I think there was a clip of that, or
Yes, I know there was the untelevised fight, but I want to say I saw the 2 new designs in a photo or video or something like that. They'll definitely be something to
Ooh, I
watch.
hope.
If
hopefully
those
be
two
cool.
do fight, that would be an amazing fight, other than what we saw from last season.
Yeah, I mean, as long as
hopefully
he
if
doesn't
that
Buddha
happens,
himself
that
again.
Yeah, that.
yeah, that was hilarious. It just ramped Hypershock out of their
Just
arena.
come right over.
Yes, yeah. Hypershock is so much. Even though Hypershock doesn't win and all the time, Hypershock brings so much entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Hypershock continue. Same thing with Gruff, as I imagine Gruff will be at least a top 32 bot. I bet they could go top 16, top 8 as well.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
Gruff is also an amazing driver in Battlebots.
Yeah.
It
Their
showed,
captain did say he was concerned about the drivetrain here, which could be something to watch in the future, but still, that was an impressive win over Hypershock. The thing that I am questioning, though, is the smoke that came out of Hypershock. Were they having reliability issues, or did the flame from Gruff's 2 flamethrowers affect Hypershock? As I think the last time we actually saw like a flamethrower affect an opponent, at least that I can think of, would be the Complete Control and Bombshell fight back in 2016, but I could be wrong.
I think free shipping did some damage to Hypershock in 2018.
Yeah, I could see that, knowing that one of their tires was smoking.
Ruff did a bit of damage to Copperhead.
Yeah, there's that as well.
The wheels were a little bit melted.
I think it was mainly due to reliability issues, though. How Hypershock lost this episode, probably because it's always had reliability problems.
Yeah, that's too bad. I hope Hypershock will get it fixed, as Will Bales is an excellent builder, an excellent driver, and yeah, Hypershock is so much fun to watch, and I feel like Hypershock can do it at some point. I feel like they are just that close to getting a giant nut.
Yeah, like they're always so close to making the postseason, but they just kind of falter at the end because, like, the Hypershock was so close to making the quarterfinals in 2016.
Oh yes, yeah, because they were winning against Poison Arrow until they had some reliability problems once again.
And then, of course, their fight against Bite Force in 2015. That was Hypershock almost won that.
Yep.
Yeah, they would have won that if they hadn't flipped them back over.
Yeah, so I think they would have won that fight by knockout if they didn't flip Bite Force over, and yeah, they probably would have won it if it went to the judges.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you guys have anything else you want to say about this episode or this fight?
All I can say is I can't wait for more of the judges' decisions to come in.
Oh boy. More debates.
What fun.
Yeah, more debates on here.
I can't see how it gets more heated than Beta versus Rotator, but all right.
Oh man.
This is going to be a fun year.
Yes, it will.
Good. I'm ready for it.
All right. You got anything else you want to say, Pory?
I'm ready for those crazy judges' decisions. And this episode was a lot of fun. A lot of controversy, but it was a fun episode.
Yeah, it's always fun to have friendly arguments, kind of like what we sort of had. So yeah, I'm ready for the drama to continue, since it sounds like there's more fights that will probably bring a lot of heat into lots of like the Discord sessions, Facebook groups that we're all in.
Yeah. It's like my buddy on Discord, he was like, yeah, I can't wait until we have a week without controversy. And I'm like, what? The week after the finals?
Perfect.
There's a controversial final decision. This is going to be Storm 2 versus Typhoon all over again.
Razor and Tornado as well. Oh, man. Yeah. Well, either way, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this commentary and arguing between the three of us here.
The arguing.
Yeah, thank you, Pory and Civilian, for joining me in this video, and I will hopefully see you in the next video.
Absolutely.